I'm concerned about the Jamaica my children are growing up in. How will they see the country that I grew up in? What are the experiences going to be?
Welcome to the show. Glad you made it, let the good vibes go. Take a breath, let the stress all go. You're right on time. Welcome to the show. Every story, every step will grow. Stick around. Let your true self go. It's Meek at heart. Welcome to the show.
Hey soft hearts and searching soul, welcome to Meek at Heart, and I'm Tameka. If you're new to the channel, then welcome. If you're a regular OG, nice to see you again, beloved. Usually before every interview, I start off with a thought. So here's what I've been thinking. I've been thinking about your word. There's a thought that says, a man is his words, what he believes in, and his morals. Now, I think it's very important that what you say is what you mean. A man's word is his bond. And in a world where everything is chaotic, the only thing we can hold on to is your words. So when you say something, mean it. Follow through, call back, and ensure that when someone says that is his word, then they hold you true to it. So your word is your bond. So that's what I've been thinking. Tell me what you think in the comments down below.
It's Meek at heart. Welcome to the show.
He is the man who bridges the gap between the stethoscope and the podium. From his medical training in Cuba to leading the Medical Association of Jamaica and stepping into the arena of national politics, Dr. Shane Alexis has spent his career at the intersection of public health and public service. A strategic leader with years of experience in clinical practice and healthcare administration, Dr. Alexis has been a vocal advocate for systematic healthcare reform, patients' rights, and the welfare of medical professionals. Beyond clinical medicine, Dr. Alexis is a public servant, actively participating in national discourse regarding economic development, health security, and rural community upliftment. He is a bridge builder with a keen ability to translate complex medical issues into actionable public knowledge. His dual background in international medical training and Jamaican grassroots politics allows him to approach national challenges with a multifaceted, people-centered lens. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. Lovely introduction.
I really try. I mean, I have these wonderful people coming on, and I can't sell them just so. I have to speak. But the truth is, if you didn't accomplish it, I would have nothing to speak about. So.
It brings into focus a lot of years of work and a journey. And, thank you for inviting me. I'm looking forward to the talk with you and your viewers.
Thank you. And thank you for coming.
Of course.
I know you're a very busy man, so to have you here is a great honor.
Well, it's a great moment to see, people like yourself stepping out and being brave enough to take on these kinds of conversations, because I think in order for us to make the next step as a country, more young professionals and young emerging leaders need to get more involved in discourse. It's all well and good to talk about parties and, what you feel like and the latest rhythm in the street, but it's also important to talk about education and health and development and rural development as well, so that we have a serious side as well as the entertainment, sport, and together we have a country. Right. And I think certainly this kind of program, I had to jump at the invitation. It's been a while. As I laugh and say to people, I think people lost interest in what I was doing or what I was talking about. Oh, no. Just simply, you're not going to be the young doctor forever, right? So somebody has to come on, and I'm also moving on to other types of responsibilities with family and my own practice. But always have time for this kind of conversation and ultimately service. So congrats to you and your program, and I hope it continues to grow.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So you've mentioned that you're going on to do different things, and you mentioned your practice, right? Because you are a doctor by profession. Tell me about that light bulb moment when you're like, you know what? I'm going to be a doctor.
So my story is quite fascinating, really, and I know it's unusual to start that way, but when you hear it, you'll understand. So over the years, I went to Peter and Paul prep school, and then to Campion. I did common entrance, actually, right after Gilbert. So I do understand when. The many students and their parents are grappling with the after effects of Melissa. I remember seeing our roof at home go. And so my mom and I, my mom was a single mother, we were looking up at the sky that first night. And in fact, having mopped all night to try and find a dry patch, when I went to bed that night beside her, I felt a drip on my head. But I was so tired, and I think she had had enough that I just shut up and just went to sleep with the water dripping on my head.
Oh, no.
At that time, there was no electricity for, maybe a month, 6 weeks, longer in many areas.
Wow.
Had to do homework underneath a street light, and this is in Kingston 8. I didn't grow up in the garrison, but I'm just making the point that a natural disaster levels the playing field for all of us.
Oh, wow.
And, so I certainly do know what that feels like. Went on, got through common entrance, and then did, Campion, and miraculously graduated, having given lots miraculously, and thought I was looking at a career in law. So I did economics and accounts at sixth form, again at Campion, miraculously, during which time, shout out to my brother, Copper Sean. So Copper Shot was started by myself, Sean Anderson, and another friend of ours, Ajama Duncan.
Wow.
And that has emerged into the Copper Shot that's of international fame, and Sean Paul.
Wow.
And his
That's
setup.
insane.
So we spent the better part of our sixth form years down at Aquarius, down at Arrow Studio. At that time, Sean Paul himself, I think we were the first sound system to actually cut Sean on a dub. Possibly that's up at Two Hard Studios, so that's Jeremy Harding's studio.
Yes.
Again, this is a very long time ago. A lot has changed in everybody's life. So it even though I didn't continue with music, I certainly am very close with all of them. Our kids are, in the same class.
Playmates
We see our, I see their families, professionally and otherwise, bandmates, etc. So I'm familiar with the entertainment space, but that wasn't the road for me. Mainly because I really didn't have the talent, to be honest with you. But I certainly have an appreciation, and those are my good friends. So, some people wonder, entertainment and a doctor and how that fits.
Yeah, they're very far.
They are, but, it's about respect and appreciation. I mean, it shows you, again, just to segue for a moment, that it's not about what you do, it's how good you are at it. So if you're the best nail tech, the best communicator, the best musician, the best doctor, the best surgeon, that's how you get the best out of a community and ultimately the country. So when I say to young people that, I have friends that are at the top of the entertainment game, involved in Grammy Award-winning projects, selling out stadium across the world, going to places you've never heard of, on behalf of the culture and the music that we represent. It's fantastic. It's as good as becoming a professor or building the highest building in the country. So the reward is based on the quality of the work that you put in, and certainly those guys have demonstrated their ability to work. So they were doing that. I was going to pursue law in Barbados, but of course, again, I wasn't focused, spent most of the time doing everything but schoolwork, and not on the corner or in my hand, but just looking at life, enjoying, parties, football, the beach, whatever was going on. And then I was in Barbados. I started a degree in English literature because I felt that you need to be able to express yourself. And ultimately, sometimes conflicts can be avoided if we were a little more articulate. So I've seen people just get upset, and the best thing that they can think of is just take out a machete and chop a man. Just get into a rage and don't know how to express it. So I thought, literature would open my mind and make me into a nice cultured young man. And maybe girls would like that. So that's how I ended up going down that road.
Poetry, so yes.
Poetry, right? There you go. And went there and, just again enjoyed Barbados and test cricket and crop over and carnival, everything but school. So
you were living your best life.
I was, and but my mom, both my parents are. Well, my mom passed 2 years ago, but she was a surgeon, and my dad is, and my grandfather was also a doctor. So I come from a family of doctors, and my grandfather said, one day, calls, at 6:30 in the morning. So funny story again. I had just come home from a party. But this is my grandfather calling to say, would I apply for a scholarship to do medicine in Cuba? And I thought, sure, yeah, anything you say, just to get to bed.
Okay.
So eventually filled out the forms, but I did say to him, look, if I get the scholarship, I'll go. And your opening remarks about word is bond at that stage, my mother was very firm on making sure that as a man, and I make a distinction between males and men. So as a man, your word must mean something.
Yes.
So having said to my grandfather, while doing a degree in literature, having a great time, that I would go to do medicine in Cuba if I won a scholarship. Fast forward some months, phone call again, guess who? Granddad. Boy, you got the scholarship. And I remember looking at my girlfriend at the time, who, I think, all of us remember, young feelings and emotions.
Love.
That, here's this lovely, lovely girl. I'm now going to tell her I'm heading off to another country. But I knew I had to because it was time, right? But it was also time in my own development, seeing my friends in entertainment, starting to grow, other people, finding their own direction. And I thought, and very important inflection point, we say to people, don't listen to anybody. Yeah, don't listen to the negativity. But those that love you and wish you well, pause. Listen to what they're saying. What are they seeing in you that you never saw before? And, at the time I wasn't sure, but, I packed up my stuff from Barbados and headed to Cuba. Again, funny story. So Spanish class, all the years in high school, I ignored that teacher. I gave her no end of trouble. If the blackboard was there, I was facing that way. And if she said, if you don't think the class is useful, you can leave, first man out the door was
Oh my gosh.
It's funny, she's passed now, but she became my patient later on, along with a chemistry teacher that I did the same thing to, and some other teachers. So, the world is, there's a circle to life. But at that time, didn't know any Spanish. But Cuba, again, a fantastic society. I am grateful for the scholarship and the opportunity, thanks to the Fidel Castro, really. I met him at the Presidential Palace during my time there.
Oh, you did?
I sure did, yeah.
What was
fantastic.
that like?
Larger than life individual, somebody who, again, word is bond, fought for a revolution. And look, my politics are clear. However, I think any of us looking at a society that moved from illiteracy to 100% literacy, a society that has developed healthcare professionals and other professionals in support of the poorest countries, the marginalized countries. I'm talking about Angola, South Africa during apartheid, throughout Central America, Latin America, the Caribbean, all the countries, practically, if not all, of CARICOM have benefited from his foresight and his investment in social engineering. Bearing in mind that Cuba has tremendous industries, they develop their own drugs and produce them, beyond which there is a vibrant salsa, Latin jazz scene, architecture, history, etc. So I'm very grateful and would not be here and would not have been able to make the kind of contribution that I have and hopefully still can make here in Jamaica without that opportunity that I was given in Cuba. The Cuban method of teaching you Spanish is without English. So the lady that taught us Spanish couldn't speak English. And all the subjects were in Spanish. So you start the first year, basic sciences. So in the case of medicine, redoing or doing again biology, chemistry.
That's what I wanted to know, if you did that at Campion at all.
I did at O levels, what you call CXC, or whatever it's called now. I did that one.
CSEC,
CSEC, all of that. Again, we ask young people, you don't have any focus what you're doing. Do you know what you want for breakfast next week, Thursday? If the answer is no, how would you know what you want to do for your career?
Oh, wow.
So it takes time to evolve, and it's not about being the fastest there, it's about being the best when you get there. So jump in and, quickly recognize the difference in the system. The Cuban system wants to make you your best person. So I remember, the first semester having difficulty with moving from the arts in English to sciences in Spanish in one semester was a challenge. And, teachers were willing to meet with me at their homes. It's a very open society, very informal but respectful. So the titles of professor this or doctor this, you just call them Jorge, Pablo, Emilio, whatever the name is. And once you show respect to them to say, look, I really want to learn. I really want to get through this exam. You go there. And it's not about judging a man by the material things that he owns, but the content of his mind and heart. And that's what they were able to instill in me and what I've brought back from my Cuban experience. So you skip ahead all those years, 7 full years, became fluent in Spanish and fluent, put it this way, when the guys used to come and try to hustle us, not knowing the language, figuring that they could eat our food, and they did. They did. But you fast forward 7 years, and you say, yesterday for you, today for me, and now they're running from you because you learn every hustle. I mean, everything from passing gas from cylinders to car to container, sell it, clothes. Used to burn CDs, music, because a lot of students coming from the African continent couldn't bring everything they wanted.
Yes.
So I found a way to hustle and get that music done for them. So put on the books, focus on that. Used to play dominoes for money. Anything you can think of.
The hustler there.
I was. Not particularly talented, and the reality is I never had to do it. But it's a great way to learn culture, to learn the language, because clearly your vocabulary expands if you're now talking about dominoes and hustling and, various kinds of conversations outside of a classroom. So not just the formal language and doing medicine in Spanish, but remember that medicine is based on people. So if you can't communicate with a man that works in agriculture or teaches or is a part of law enforcement, meaning different educational levels, using different slangs, and you see that here in Jamaica, then you can't really get into their life, and therefore you can't really get their confidence, nor can you get the information to make an accurate diagnosis. So you have to live it a little bit with people, try on their shoes a little bit, see where they eat, where do they go to parties, what's that party like, but also equally, what are the churches like, how do they pray, what's their spiritual background, to get a full view of society. And those are the kinds of tools that I've tried to refine over time and learn to apply in medicine, in my own practice and when I was in the hospital.
So what was that moment that made you say, yes, I want to get into politics?
In 2011, I was made an offer to run in politics, but I turned it down. I had just paid down on my home, and I don't think I had the gas money to make it to halfway through, much less a constituency. And so I decided to pass on that. So the opportunity to go into representational politics came after Dr. Green, who was a member of parliament in Southeast St. Mary. So that's from Castleton Gardens, you go over Stony Hill, and a few miles up you come to Castleton, all the way to the edge of Portland, and then up into the hills, Scotts Hall, Brennard, so that is the hills where the Maroons, there's a Maroon town, so it's not only just a compound, there's Scotts Hall Maroons as well.
That's not one we hear about that lot.
It's a smaller community, but it is a significant community. And that goes into the hills all the way to northern St. Catherine. So you can come through St. Mary, down into Devil's Racecourse, back into Linstead very easily. So it's a very large area, a rural area, mostly farming communities. And he represented that community after Harry Douglas, who became a political mentor for me. So I am a member of the People's National Party. I do believe in the principles of democratic socialism because that's how I got educated in Cuba.
Right.
It doesn't mean that I'm partisan. It doesn't mean that I can't listen to other ideas and progress my thoughts along other lines. But I believe in equal access because that's what I saw in Cuba. I believe in education. I believe in healthcare. I believe in the dignity in delivering that, so both on my end to give people a good experience, but that they should also have a good experience. I believe, therefore, that the solutions to many of the problems that we face in 2026 have political roots, and in order to correct that, it means you have to get involved. So all of us that went across the reggae boys about how them play, we're off the field. Try to position yourself on the field and say, I'm willing to get involved. So the decision for a young former president of several things and having options and a private practice, in fact, I left government in 2015, meaning I didn't renew my contract, so that I would be free to take up this opportunity if and when it came, because there are staff orders that govern whether as a member of staff / civil servant, but civil servants are full-time employees. I was on a contract, but nonetheless, can you challenge the government politically if you work for the government?
Right.
I've always felt that I'm in a stronger position to be independent, whether it is my own party or otherwise, to say that I'm not compromised in any way. So if I tell you that outside is raining, you can believe me because there's no reason for me to make it up. If I tell you that you have cancer, there's no reason for you to think I'd make that up either.
Right,
so
right.
credibility, and again, to your earlier remarks, word is bond, that it means something if I say something to someone. So I wanted to be free of any sort of connections with the government, but I also had a young family to support and to provide for. So I didn't want to starve, but at the same time, I didn't want to be compromised. But ultimately, I felt that my road would go through politics. I've received offers from the Jamaica Labour Party on many occasions, and up to recently.
To be a part of that.
To contribute.
Okay.
I did politics, your stock goes up and down, so it depends. But it's to say that there was always a space that I felt I needed to participate in to advance, national discourse, national development, and ultimately better outcomes for patients, because I've dedicated my life to healthcare. So I'm not interested particularly in being the minister of roads or tourism. I want to be the minister of health. That's been an open secret. It's not saying that those who are closer to that role or might be, more likely to be the minister than I am, it's not about them. It's really just a dream for myself to say, I think I see solutions that I would like the opportunity to have the responsibility to administer. And so that's why I ran in politics.
Do you think that you can be a minister of health without being a doctor?
I think any of us that puts ourselves out there, you're putting yourself out in your own right. I'm putting myself out, all of us. You have to honestly evaluate, look, what are your strengths and weaknesses? I think leadership skills are important in leading. So obviously, as a minister of any portfolio, it's useful to have leadership credentials. Doctors, naturally, we interact with people every day. My business is people. The business of politics is people. So it's natural for many doctors to find their way to politics, because we naturally have to build trust, gain understanding from people at all walks of life, and find solutions. In the case of a doctor being the minister of health, I'll put it this way. Not all bright people teach well. So somebody might come first in the class and you think, oh, they're going to teach at the university. And it's a disaster, it's terrible. Not everybody who runs fast will become a good coach. So I guess I hope the answer is obvious in what I'm saying, but I am still on my path, still willing to give service. For some people, it looks like I'm, picked up my marbles having not won that by-election, and then I ran in 2020 and was not successful. But let me tell you something. I enjoyed every minute of St. Mary, and I still do. I don't feel any sense of betrayal from the people. It's a matter of you put yourself forward. Democracy means there are options.
Yes.
And people are free to choose someone other than you. I accept that. It's part of it. If you play a football game, one outcome is you can win, the other is that you can lose. You must be equally prepared for it. So I was prepared to be a member of parliament, but I was also prepared to go home to my family and go to my patients the next morning, which I did.
So politics is such a tricky thing, and you're in the profession of being a doctor. But has that impacted your ability to serve as a doctor, considering your political experience in the past? Patients have never turned away from me in spite of my politics. Interestingly, I take care of, I won't call a role, but I'd say leadership of the governing party who campaigned against me. I see some of them or their families. And it's a tremendous honor, as I do with my own party and relatives and whoever. I certainly don't discriminate about my patients. But it's always nice to see that your opponent values you enough to say, look, I'll put that aside because he's good at what he does. And they know that I would do the same. Yes. So I think it's
It's about maturity and mellowing with time, understanding that, jumping up and down and making noise does not make you the strongest voice in the room. Learning that the pen is mightier than the sword, that arguments divide us. Finding common ground can unite us around agreeing on certain policies, directions. So whether it's our foreign policy now in Jamaica with what's happening in the world, whether it's with the Cuban medical teams, whether it has to do with the wars in various parts of Ukraine or in Iran, understanding our own needs in terms of our feeding ourselves, our tourism sector, our infrastructure, sport. I look at the kids that put their heart and souls into preparing for champs, and schools that have won, multiple championships, but are still running on dirt and grass. I think when we talk about rural development, when I went to Campion, and I think it's widely known, I come from uptown. I'm still uptown. I've not moved. But it doesn't mean, and that's why St. Mary was such a fulfilling experience, that there's a country called Kingston and then there's Jamaica. A lot of us spend our time in Kingston and not try to explore Jamaica and understand that why is it that the lights are off in the countryside when you're coming home at night? Yes. It's not because they're bored or they go to bed early, it's because they have no light. Many of those concrete structures have dirt floors. Many of those homes have no water. Many of those children don't go to school. And if they go to school, there's precious little. So when I meet corporate leaders, political leaders, leaders in the judiciary, and their story is about the struggle to get an education and how early they got to bed, and I look at how easy I got it.
Yes.
I realized that, I owe it to the communities who had very little to say. Let me try to be a voice to make sure that you're not being overlooked, that you're not invisible. And therefore leverage that kind of thinking into community partnerships. And so ultimately, all of these different issues, I think it's more useful for us to work on laying out the argument and having the discussion like we're doing, reasoning it out, kissing my teeth and walking out in the middle of an interview because, boy, I don't like this or that. Questions. Or I don't like, or I'm not prepared for the question, doesn't advance the group that I hope to represent. So at this point, I'm not actively in representational politics. I'm still a member of the party. I still listen. I still want to make a contribution if asked. But more importantly, I'm also focused on Jamaica and the development of those areas of sport, education, or culture. Again, having friends in the industry. One of the interesting people I met along the way that many people I think don't know is that Barry Salmon is from Another Bay. And so I met him and became pretty good friends, and we talk until all hours of the night about how the country, just history. Just as a man who had seen many things, I want to know, what did you see? What did you think? How do you feel about it now? What could have been done differently? And I think learning about our past prepares us for the future. So still on a journey, and I guess, as you can see, it started out in a very light, fun way. But then the thoughts have evolved, the consciousness has evolved. I'm seeing where things are going. I'm concerned about the Jamaica my children are growing up in. How will they see the country that I grew up in? What are the experiences going to be? I have 2 daughters. And I want them to have a good education, and I want them to have security and ability to go into parts of the country and just enjoy Jamaica. But I want that for everybody else's children too, because I don't want my children to be isolated.
I think that Kingston is Jamaica.
Correct. Yes. Or where we live, that's it. Or our lifestyle, that's it. You know, there are injustices happening around us every day. And it is past time to deal with them. And those of us who have been educated, exposed to not just leadership, but leadership outside of Jamaica, as well as thinking that transcends politics, that transcends religion, and contribute more constructively to the dialogue. And I think ultimately, the country will win if all of us are talking at a level that no matter what comes out, whatever decision, it's good. You know, that our entertainment grows and that we have cultural outlets, but we also have business, and it's easier to start a business and grow your business. You don't just have to be a listed company on the stock exchange to get a break. But if you are, have a car wash, what's the path to going to detailing or being able to put protective coats on cars or tinting? If you have a hairdressing salon, or you're busy just doing your friend's hair at the back of your house, how do you open a salon? How do you grow? How do you move from teething light because it's too expensive to get connected with JPS, with the different inspections, to applying and having your own space? I mean, I remember in a place called Boardville in St. Mary, a lady wanted to pay taxes. I had never heard that in my life. She wanted to stop hiding. And when you think about it, we all want to stop hiding from something. Hiding the fact that we've made a religious choice, or a lifestyle choice, or a business decision, or a family decision. We want to say, no, this is what I think or how I feel. She wanted to stop hiding from JPS trucks that she's or not paying her fair share. She wanted the dignity of just walking into the tax office with her name, as I'm saying now, brawling, that she deserves to be there, and she can raise her issues, and nobody can style her or close her down or tell her to be quiet because she's not doing what she's supposed to do. She wanted to be legitimate. And I think there are many other people, I certainly feel that way. I want to legitimately come on your program and say what I'm saying without worrying about whether I'll have a job on Monday or how people might feel. And I hope I haven't offended anybody during this conversation. I'm just sharing what's in my heart, what I think about our country, what I think my role could be, and continue to participate. And invite others to say it's okay to think progressively. I like a party and a round robin like anybody else. In fact, probably more than most. But I also like ideas, and I like discussions on philosophy and the direction that our society is taking. Are we focused on the right values? And it's not about, Christian or non-Christian. I'm talking about children, young women who have contracted HIV from an individual because they were just trying to get to school. They were just trying to be able to pay a school fee or pay for subjects to advance themselves or their family. I'm talking, is that right? How do you feel hearing something like that? It's certainly, having daughters, it certainly is, it destroys me. I think it's sad to see young men, have to compromise themselves. I remember doing a medical for a young man out Spanish Town side. Well, he's from Spanish Town, and inked up, lighter than me, looked like he could be related to me. And, I did the medical, and I said to him, tell me something, I want to ask you a question. He said, yeah, man. I said, boy, it's personal, though. So, no, man, go through. I said, boy, most people that look at you would be afraid, but you're doing a medical for a job. So, yeah, man. I said, how you're managing your community. You know, when the man them know that, boy, you have this job and you're coming back home, you're supposed to be coming home with money. So he explained to me how he managed himself. I said, tell me something. If there are 10 guys that sit down on a corner now, how many you think would leave the corner for a job like this? He said 5.
5.
He said 5 off the bat. He said 2 or 3, so that would be 8. 2 or 3, he would have to give them a talk, show them the benefit of, you know, getting NHT benefit or a health card, whether for your mother or your spouse or whatever. You know, you'd have to show them the benefits. And he said 2 probably wouldn't change. But I thought it was such
But that's 8 of 10.
And it shows you that there's hope, there are possibilities.
Yes.
But we have to give those young men the dignity of an opportunity. If we just shout and cuss after people, why would they listen? You know, honey attracts bees, vinegar doesn't. So, again, as I said, you know, my upbringing was very different from many of, you know, was very fortunate. But it doesn't mean that I can't understand the problems that others face. There's a universality about pain. There's a universality about love and how you feel good or happiness. There's a universality about being hungry. The fact that you have a fridge with food doesn't mean you don't know what hungry feels like. You know, the fact that you might be well educated or live in a nice home doesn't mean you don't know what a broken heart feels like. The same way when your pipe lock off. You know, I mean, when you don't have water, no matter who you are, you don't have water.
Yeah.
So these are things and, you know, things that don't sit well with me, that I still am hopeful that these conversations will get your community here listening, talking about comments, passing it on, sharing, encouraging you to have you know, interesting discussions, or I should say more interesting discussions with other people, but at least to spark something. And if they hear something that I've said that sounds good, I hope that they will go and join a community organization, the 4-H Club, Kiwanis, Rotary, you know, just community groups, political parties. I mean, I say to people, look, I don't mind which party you want to be a part of, but choose something. Because Jamaica can't continue to just have 3 out of 10 people deciding who will lead us.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean, you know, being affiliated or voting does not mean you're partisan. It doesn't mean you're, as I say in the street, die-hearted.
Yes.
You're a die-hearted comrade or rockstone laborite, and you say, well, you know, you don't want to put on colors. I think it is to say, look, I want a good decision. If I hear something good from this person, or I hear something good from this person, or I hear something bad, I'm not going to endorse it. So you can change. You do it for the love. You know, it's your country, it's your community, it's your school. Make the time, you know, be a part of it. Don't make important decisions pass you by, you know, because that decision might actually impact you directly, or your children or your family. When we ignore what's happening in our healthcare system, our grandparents or pregnant sisters or wives or girlfriends or co-workers suffer. Our children who get sick have nowhere to go. When we ignore the poor roads in some communities where farmers can't bring their what they've grown to the market to earn, it affects their livelihoods, it affects our health, because then we don't have the choices that doctors are talking about in terms of natural or healthier options. When we don't think about our students, who will be the next generation, including the next generation of murderer or the next generation of teacher or nurse or policeman. So it can go in any direction. It's not just the children are our future. Full stop. Children are our future. Have we given them the opportunity for a good future? Because they can also go in another direction.
Are you responsible for selecting your constituency, or is it given to you?
So it's never, in politics, it's never a straightforward answer. There are nuances depending on what's happening. So in my case, let me back up. Both political parties have a constitution, rules that are clearly laid out and are generally followed, or we expect them to be followed. Within that, there's always room. I can't speak about the Jamaica Labour Party with confidence, but certainly the People's National Party, that the president of the party has the ability to make selections or remove or change selections. So there's a democratic process, but the leader can always intervene and sometimes does. In my case, in 2017, because of the death of the Member of Parliament, I made myself available. I was not at that time a member of the party, but circling, looking, asking questions. And when approached, for me, it was really a no-brainer. Typically for me in politics, you'd have to convince me not to do it. I am, enthusiastic to do it. I enjoy representational politics. I like country politics more than I do urban politics. That's just to say the breeze, the quality of air, the food, the taste, various things. But I can say certainly in St. Mary, in spite of looking different than most people from St. Mary, I know I'd blend in well in say, St. Elizabeth. As I say, as a red man, you can, but it's to say as a background. But my background from Cuba, I'm cool, just level up. I mean, you deal with people, and up to now, a few weeks ago, I was, at a river cookup.
In St. Mary?
Yeah, man, because you still, these are people that in the dead of night are making sure that I got home through the junction.
Wow.
In the dead of night are making sure that I'm not the only person left at an event, or that I'm safe, not that anything ever happened, but, there have been incidents in the parish. These are people that have chosen to become my patients, and are willing to make the effort and the sacrifice to attend my office,
right.
to pursue the medical plan. They bring their families, they trust me, I trust them. And we've worked together. And there are several who are not affiliated with the PNP, who are not political friends, just simply a businessman or someone I've played football with, or someone who would just hit it off as individuals and chose to remain in contact. There's value in every relationship. It's just trying to get as many good relationships as you can, and avoid the ones that really not so good. But yeah, I mean, there's one in particular who is staunchly, a supporter of the Jamaica Labour Party, but I don't go anywhere without him because, as I say in the street, I'm always watching my head back because we have a deeper relationship. But at the time of voting, we separate. But as individuals, as respecting, learning about one another, that's not unusual. I went to school with Pernell Charles and Kamina Johnson, Smith and Terra Long and Matthew Samuda and others. But with maturity, you can say, look, we have different views on this particular area. I believe that they are just as interested as I am in improving the country. The method, the style, the individual ability to do it, I think will vary between all of us, including comrades in the opposition. It's for people to choose. So when you ask, how you get into a seat, the party president has the ultimate say. But sometimes communities will approach you. Certainly for me, they have approached me. But you look at whether it's a good fit for you, you look at the numbers, meaning, so for example, if I wanted, if a community like Tivoli Gardens that has voted for the Labour Party exclusively said, boy, Shane, we really want you to come here. I look at the numbers, I might say, well, let me see if this is the best thing for me and my family, but still support them in their community activities. You might have another community that is sort of in the middle, that you have to work for it. I mean, sometimes I see results and, suffice it to say that Southeast St. Mary is very political. There's a turnout of certainly in excess of 60%.
Wow.
When you look at the average, the national average at 30. So St. Mary, you have to work for it. And I'm fine with that, and I enjoy that. So communities might select you. I think that's always good. And I have and will always have a very special affinity for Southeast St. Mary. The fact that I chose not to run again was not based on a personal issue with the people. It had to do with my partner, Dr. Jackson, died a few weeks after the election in 2020. We had worked together for 12 years, 6 days a week.
Wow.
He was like a mentor, generally, but particularly in medicine, and my close friend. So that changed any number of dynamics to do with how my practice was structured. And ultimately, I then evolved into my own practice. So it was a time of personal change and reflection. I don't believe in imposing myself on any community or anyone, any patient. It's always a choice. If at that time St. Mary had made a decision and I felt it was important to step back, have a look, whether I can return to St. Mary at some point, who knows? They're obviously sitting members of parliament. So I don't mean from a mischievous perspective to create problems. I'm just saying you never know where life can lead you. Remember, I started off in Barbados to do law.
Right.
So, we never know where our futures will lead us.
But is it something that you would do again? Would you?
I hope so. I really hope so. But we'll see what God, what people have in mind for me, what the party has in mind for me. And you must also be aware as a leader to make space. If I'm not scoring any goals, I have to go in when you play a scrimmage, you might be a forward, but you're not scoring goals. You might drop back in defense, allow someone else to go forward, or just ask to be substituted. It's not my day or it's not my season. You still work at your own craft. So it's not that I am, not thinking about the country, not thinking about policy, not thinking about politics or where to make a contribution. It is to be patient and await the opportunity to be called upon. And very importantly, when you're called up by the coach, make sure you can score. Don't bother beg the game, and then when you get a chance, you not say nothing. So for me, personal development continues. When I finish this interview, I have a date with both my daughters to carry them to a play. So there's always, evolving needs, growth. And I also, from a very early stage, especially when I was president of the union, make space. It's not my property to be leader or chairman of anything forever. It's for a time. Sometimes, yes, if you're having a nice run, it's hard to step away. I'm sure the same for if you're getting hundreds or thousands of views. You say, boy, I want to do more programs. Or, you feel like you have to rush it, but you don't. It's about preparation. It's not how quick you get there, it's how good it is when you do get there.
Right.
And so I hope, but we'll see what happens.
I know that a lot of people listening would have gained so much knowledge, information, and also a certain level of inspiration and hope from your own experiences.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, but you know we're not finished, right?
Apparently not.
And this is the part that people love and also fear. And it's because I usually create the games just for my guest. So this game is called the Pulse Check, the diagnostic edition.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you the symptoms of a sickness, which is a societal sickness. You are going to tell me the prescription or how you will solve this problem.
Okay.
Ready? And I also need a name for it.
You need a name for
Yes.
it? Okay.
So, I don't know.
I did this game sounds good because I did one with Richie B one morning, and at the end it was to sing the chorus of your favorite song. Well, I can't sing, so it was terrible. So I can do this.
Yeah, man.
All right, so let's go with the first one.
All right, so here we go. The symptoms of this particular sickness: a community where young people have smartphones but can't distinguish a peer-reviewed article and a viral WhatsApp rumor. Here are the vital signs: high screen time, low media literacy, rapid pulse of information. What's this sickness? So it's a community where young people have smartphones but can't distinguish between a peer-reviewed article and a viral WhatsApp rumor. What's wrong with them?
No signal.
That sounds like a social, I want a medical term.
It's no signal. They're just not getting the signals. They're not tuned in. They're not aware of what they should be. They're not interacting with, real life and what's on the screen, so they don't know the difference between what's real and what's not. Mm-hmm. They just swallow what they see because they're not, getting enough stimulation.
But what would be a medical? You want me to tell you what I have?
Tell me what you have.
Digital cataract.
Digital, I can work. That sounds, yes. So cataracts are solved with surgery. So
how you're solving this one?
So we're going to cut out the problem, which is give them other things to do so that they can get more exposed to life, maybe sporting facilities, community center, even digital spaces where they can be creative and sort of, be the captains of their own destiny. Mm-hmm. So digital cataracts, we're going to do digital surgery.
See? Yes.
Yeah, we can
saved some lives.
Yeah, we can do something.
All right, next symptom. Bright, ambitious graduates in rural St. Mary who have the red blood cells, talent, but no oxygen. And oxygen being local jobs or investment to keep the system going. What's the sickness? Oh, you want the vital signs? Vital signs: high migration rates to Kingston or overseas, low economic circulation. What's wrong with it?
Well, I'm going to tell you. That's reality. It's endemic to St. Mary. In fact, many rural communities, meaning Professor Vereen Shepherd is from St. Mary. Beres Hammond is from St. Mary. Right. Oliver Samuels spent formative years in St. Mary. And on it goes, several, Capleton, big up King Shango. There are many associated people with St. Mary, but the majority are suffering from exactly what you said. Mm-hmm. So,
what is it? What is the sickness that they're suffering from?
I think it is myopia. They're seeing up to here. They're not really getting a view of what's possible. The solution is we need to clear the lenses, clear the air, open up their minds, show them that there's potential in St. Mary, where they are, if you want to say, but it's okay to explore any of the other parishes with real opportunities for exchanges. So, for example, what I mean by that is, I have a patient who lives in St. Mary, and he runs a truck at a quarry in Clarendon. Economic growth occurs anywhere that there's an opportunity. We have to create some in St. Mary with what we have in terms of agriculture, the rivers, ecotourism, and possibly even renewable energy, so that we can attract talent and retain talent. But we also have to make sure there's infrastructure for talent to move freely to other parts of Jamaica and return home, so that when they come back, they can keep their round robin or their convention or cultural activities like plays, etc. So there's economic movement and ultimately growth. What happens in a lot of rural areas in Jamaica is that it's stagnant. So unless you go and visit your auntie or your uncle or your grandfather, great.
You're not really going down there.
No money no spend, not go on.
Yes.
It just dead until somebody else comes. So rather than have Jamaicans waiting on somebody, let's allow them to create as well opportunities to attract as well as to move around freely.
Okay. I called it acute opportunity anemia. That's
Yeah. No, you're right. I think it's there. I just add, boy, I think it's been a while, so maybe chronic, but I'm good with acute.
Okay. All right. So, an irregular heartbeat in national pride. People cheer for athletes, and the music, the high tones, but the resting heart rate, which is the voting and community service, is dangerously low. Vital signs: high passion during episodes like World Cup, but chronic fatigue during election cycles. What do we have?
Whoa. I think we're bipolar. I think you're right. We move from, extreme. Look, it's hard to beat Jamaica on a good day. I mean, you leave your house, nice blue skies, and like a Saturday or Sunday afternoon, link up your people, them, cook up something, breeze a blow, music a play, whatever is available to eat. Whether it is, for the top and hours, Hennessy and lobster and all of that, or it's just simply some sprats fried up or a basic pot of anything. And the music and the vibe and attractive people around you. No traffic, you just can't flow. Police not trouble you. You just, do your thing. In any part of Jamaica, that's hard to beat. But then when you have to face a long line at the tax office, traffic backup, bad road, reach home, water lock off before you can get a shower, these are things that just hold you. So I think we have fun, highs like no other in Jamaica. Along the reggae boys, fingers crossed that they qualify.
Right.
Jamaica boss again. Show a keep again. But if we don't, we're low again.
Yes.
And some of the issues that we haven't addressed for many years are reflected in the low turnout in our elections. So I think, what's the solution? I think we have to be balanced in not just lifting, the intellectual side of things and all that brain stuff, but we have to lift the vibe too. I mean, I love carnival like anybody else. I grew up, my mother was from the Eastern Caribbean. I've played carnival many times in many countries. But I also
Which country exactly? Which country exactly? You said your mother is from the East.
She was from Grenada.
Oh, okay.
But I also have spent a lot of time around sound systems and selectors, and there's nothing like, when three walls string up and you feel that the music through you. So I'd like to see where, the entertainment in whatever form, that all groups have oxygen, that all groups have equal access to venues and times and opportunities and are not harassed. So that we can all have a good time on our corners, our lanes, our community centers, or big venues like the stadium. Similarly, I think we have to work on making our politics and our policies more accessible through these kinds of interactions, but explaining from the parliament what's happening in our country, why is it happening, and what you plan to do about it, and when. And ultimately, we have to hold those people accountable. So I think we have to walk and chew gum. We have to deal with the hard work, but we also have to have a good time and free up to balance ourselves. And I think if we do more of that.
Well, I think you've saved some lives. And I thank you so much for coming. I really did enjoy just speaking with you and for you to just share with us, some of the challenges that you've seen and how best you think that we can address them as a country.
Thank you so much. Good luck with your show. I hope, I'll be watching. I hope you continue to grow as well.
Thank you.
And that those of your viewers and subscribers continue to like what you're doing, because I know it's hard work.
Yes.
So big up yourself. Big up yourself as well, and keep going. And I'll be supporting you and your team from digital line.
Thank you.
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe so that you'll be the first to know when we post new content. And always remember, you can be the light that fights against the shadows.